Hi, I'm Sándor and this is my video tutorial to whom would like to become a pilot. This short video introduces you what kind of instruments, switches, indicators and buttons has been built into a general airplane. This airplane is a motoglider Falke SF-25B and a German construction. Okay, let's start from the left side of the cockpit over to the right side. The first thing is the trim tab. We must balance our airplane in the air, unless we don't want to work on stick with huge forces. If you pull back, you apply nose up trim. If you push forward, you apply nose down trim. And it has a neutral position. We apply it now, and if necessary, we will change it in the air. The next is the fuel valve. It's in open position if parallel with the fuel pipeline, and in closed position if perpendicular to the pipeline. Let me open it now. Above the fuel valve we can find a navigation light switch. We don't turn it on now because this charges the battery and we can start up the engine if necessary in the air. Next to it the engine startup button is located. The following thing is the flight radio. Our airspeed frequency has been set, but we can change it and adjust the volume. The next is the airspeed indicator, which has been limited to 150 km/h on this unique airplane. Right next to it there is a very important indicator, the oil temperature indicator. We mustn't take off until the oil temperature doesn't warm up to 50 degrees Celsius at least, but it is not reached the 120 degrees Celsius. The following switch is the rotation strobe light switch. The strobe light has to operate when the engine running. We don't turn it on because this light discharges the airplane's battery. We are going to switch on when we have already started the engine up. Left side of the airspeed indicator there is the internal radio communication switch. If it is in on position, pilots able to speak with each other. Next to the right, we find the engine tachometer. The maximum RPM is 3500, but this engine has a maximum RPM limit about between 2700 and 3100. The red sign shows it. Takeoff is the only situation when we use the maximum RPM, and we don't do it more than 1 minute. After taking off we have to decrease the RPM to about 2500. Below the tachometer, the oil pressure indicator is located. If the pin is inside the green line, then the oil pressure is OK. If it goes to the red line, we have to shut down the engine because it doesn't have the necessary minimum lubrication. The next is the main electric switch, in other words magneto switch. We have to turn right if we would like to switch the electric system on. Next to it we find the engine electric system switch. This is the carburetor heater. You activate it if you pull out. Next big white arm is the thrust and the attitude indicator. We have to lock it before use, then turn on the switch, and when it is working on its maximum turn, unlock it. This radio transmitter button is for the right side seated instructor. On the bottom we find the battery charge indicator. It's alright if lying in the green zone with running engine. This indicator is the altimeter, which can be calibrated by the small knob next to it. Small pin shows the 1000 feet and the large pin is 400 feet. So we are on 650 feet above the sea level with 1031 atmosphere pressure. The following is the vertical speed indicator, which shows the rate of descent or climb. It's calibrated in meter per second. The last one is the transponder. We can set 7 numbers on 4 places. Numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 0. Usually 7000 have been set, but if we have already been in the air, we can ask the Flight Information Center for a unique transponder code. If we receive it, we have to set and we are identified during our flight. If we have been landed, we must restore the 7000. Okay, before we start up the engine, we need to write down the engine tachometer.